Hey guys, and welcome to B Review. Here at B Hero Media, we wanted to start doing a review section. So we'll be reviewing tons of things: movies, TV, video games, comic books, books, all varieties of things. So today, what we'll be doing is we're going to be reviewing a new Netflix show, Jupiter's Legacy. Now, in the format that we're going to be reviewing these shows, starting with Jupiter's Legacy, we're going to go through three sections: the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we'll review these as such. Good, obviously good things about it. Bad, bad things about it. And the worst thing of all about whatever it is the review will be on the ugly. Now, there's not a requirement to have something in each section. There may not be. We might have a perfect movie or we might have a garbage fire. Don't know yet. But we'll start with this great show. Personally, I'm a big fan of Mark Millar, who is the writer of the original comic book series that this is based off of. Mark Millar, or Mark Miller, whichever one you want to go with, had been a writer for the X-Men comics for years. Some of the greatest storylines in X-Men history comes from Mark Miller. Now, with that being said, he moved on to doing Jupiter Legacy, which is a great conceptual story. The story essentially goes something similar to what the traditional superhero is. You have a like Superman character known as the Utopian. His wife is Liberty Lady. Then they have their son and a daughter. They have his brother's a superhero. It's a whole thing. I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But as we review this, I want you to know we're going to be reviewing specifically the Netflix show. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of this. Start with the Netflix show is 8 episodes long, and it is helmed by some great directors and writers. They adapted the story pretty well. There's some changes which we'll get to. But to start off with, the two lead actors of this show are Josh Duhamel, who plays the Utopian. You know Josh Duhamel, you probably see him be like, I know that guy. Most people will probably remember him from the Transformers movies, where he kind of played the lead army guy. And then his wife, or also one of the other shows, my personal favorite that he was on, he was the lead character in the show known as Las Vegas for years. Molly Sims was in it, James Caan, great show. That being said, his wife is also played by a fairly well-seen but not well-known actress known as Leslie Bibby. Leslie Bibby is one of those faces that you see and you're like, I know her. Where do I know her? Most people will probably remember her as the reporter from Iron Man 1 that Tony gets with, and then later calls him out on his BS about not being Iron Man. They both have never really had the vessel to shine on a big stage like this before. Josh Duhamel did some great stuff with Las Vegas, but never really had that ability to shine until now. So let's go ahead and go into the good. The good is the acting. Both Leslie Bibby and Josh Duhamel do so well with this show. It is insane. They act their butts off. They make you want to look more about the characters, read about the characters from the comic book and everything else. They also do some great stuff where you get to see them age in it, because the story in this is separated out between the current timeline and the 1920s, when they are about to get to their powers. So they get a little bit of an origin story for that. They do great in showing the difference between that experience that they've had over the 100 years of doing this as being superheroes and everything else. You could see it on their faces. You could see that story written in their face that is not told. They also do a great thing in this show of doing the cinematography for this. So when you're in the current time, it's a simple one format. When it's in the 1920s, going through the origin story, it's in a different format. So you can visually see the difference between the time. Similar to what they did with WandaVision. and they do it very well. They also spread it across all 8 episodes, so you don't get the origin story in one episode and done. You get the origin story all the way through while also finding out what's going through the current timeline. Now, moving on to the bad. The bad is kind of the pacing of this show. It does a lot of world building, and it takes 8 episodes to get anywhere. Also, the Utopian is written in this as such a stalwart character that he has his code he needs to stick by, always needs to stick by, no matter what, no matter how the world changes, no matter how everything else changes, he needs to stick by this. He also makes his group, their version of the Justice League known as the Union, stick by the code. If they don't, then all is lost. And it doesn't give character growth for that character. It also hinders some of the other characters because of how strong he is and causes conflict. But they don't buy into that conflict. The story is not as strong as it is in the comic, or the graphic novel, excuse me. The story in the graphic novel touches more on things like that as they go on, and other things, the main arc of the story, and things like that. Because it takes so long and so slow, I feel like people are going to not want to stick with it, and I'm worried it might not make a second season, which it really needs because of such. That all being said, now it's time for The Ugly. The Ugly is essentially the storyline. They spend so much time on trying to get you to the origin story and then trying to build to the story arc and to a twist. They don't earn it. None of it's earned. Not a single ounce of it is earned. So it makes it really hard to be invested in the show because you're like, meh. That's kind of the way I felt like by the end of the show. Meh. And that is not a way you want to have your season finale be. You want your season finale to be a cliffhanger, to make you want to be like, I need that next season now, kind of thing. Or to have all your storylines wrapped up and to earn your season. And they don't do that. This is one of the few times where having that short format of 8 episodes not work. If they're going to go that slow, they needed to have another 1 or 2 episodes. And it just hurts that show so much. So, as such, I still say watch the show. The fight scenes are great. The acting is fantastic. The cinematography is amazing. And I feel like they're going to do better with the story. I really wish that they would have it where they would have got the extra 2 episodes to give you that great ending. And I don't know if this is because of the pandemic or what have you that's causing this to be, or to have been shortened down. But it feels like it's lacking. And as such, I'm going to give this probably 3.5 out of 5 capes to say that it's good and there's a ton of potential. The acting is phenomenal, not just with Josh Duhamel and Leslie Bibb, but most of the cast, especially the daughter of the Utopian and Liberty Lady. She does great. She makes you want to see more of her and kind of to see where things are going to go with her. I just wish there was more. That's really it. I wish there was more story, more. And as such, it gets that 3 out of 5 capes. But let me know what you guys think. Hit me out right up here in the comments. Tell me what you guys think. Like and subscribe if you guys are liking this new format we're doing and this new concept. I would love to continue doing these. On our next episode, we're going to go ahead and review another comic book adaptation, Invincible, done by Robert Kirkman. So see you guys next week with that. We'll be dropping these every Friday. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And as always, be awesome. Catch you guys next time.